Ever pondered over the question, what makes you uniquely you? It's not just your appearance or personality, but something more profound, your DNA. Every individual carries a unique genetic blueprint, and this is where DNA fingerprinting steps in. DNA fingerprinting, also known as DNA profiling, is a remarkable scientific technique that allows us to delve into our genetic code, identifying and analyzing the information that sets us apart from every other individual on the planet. First developed in the mid-80s by British geneticist Sir Alec Jeffreys, this method is now an essential tool in various scientific fields. So how does DNA fingerprinting work? It's a multi-step process that begins with sample collection. DNA samples are obtained from an individual's cells, which could be from blood, saliva, hair follicles, or other tissues. Once the sample is collected, the next step is DNA extraction. This involves isolating the DNA from the rest of the biological material, leaving us with the genetic code to work with. The DNA then undergoes polymerase chain reaction, or PCR. This technique is like a genetic photocopier, creating multiple copies of specific regions of the DNA. This amplification is essential, especially when dealing with small or degraded samples. Next up is gel electrophoresis. This process separates the amplified DNA fragments by their size. It's like a race where the smallest fragments move the fastest, creating a pattern that can be visualized and compared based on their lengths. The DNA fragments are then ready for analysis. Techniques like southern blotting or DNA sequencing are used to determine the unique patterns of genetic markers, those segments of DNA that make you, you. Once the DNA fingerprints are ready, it's time for comparative analysis. DNA fingerprints from different samples are compared to identify similarities or differences in the genetic profiles. This comparison can help determine relationships between individuals or match genetic evidence found at a crime scene to a suspect. Finally, the results of the DNA fingerprinting analysis are interpreted. These interpretations can draw conclusions about the relatedness or identity of the individuals being tested. DNA fingerprinting isn't just a fascinating scientific process, it's a powerful tool with real-world applications. It's used in forensic investigations to match suspects to evidence, identify victims, and even exonerate the innocent. It's also used in paternity testing, helping establish biological relationships. In a nutshell, DNA fingerprinting is an indispensable tool that identifies individuals based on their unique genetic profiles. It's revolutionized a multitude of fields, from forensic science to biotechnology and medicine. And as technology advances, so does the technique, becoming a more integral part of modern genetic analysis. Remember, DNA fingerprinting isn't just about solving crimes or establishing paternity, it's about understanding what makes each one of us unique at a fundamental level. It's about understanding the language of life, written in the code of our DNA.